Okay, so here we go. We are going to do Pokemon Silver Run with Mew only. Now, I'm not going to try to use items or anything in battle, but um, if I have to, then I will. So anyways, let's go ahead and start. My name is going to be Sweep, because, why not? Also, by the way, I had a different run actually planned to do instead of this, but it was taking so long that I was just like, Mew probably wouldn't take that long to do, and I've never used Mew. So let's go ahead and do a Mew one. I was doing a team of poison types only because I'd never really used poison types that much, and I really like a lot of them. With Mew's name here, we're going to do Lizard. And that's just because in Gen 1, especially in the Japanese versions, green and red, he looks like a lizard in the sprites. He doesn't in this one. As you can see here, I battle a couple Pokemon, and it is not really a challenge at all at this point. First rival fight, that's not really much of a challenge either. There actually surprisingly is some challenges at some point in this video where it's way harder than I would expect, or, well, I don't know, it's probably just me too, because it's been so long since I played Pokemon Silver that, I had forgotten where a lot of things was, and different stuff like that. So yeah, we take down the rival, and then we go back and we name the rival Stella, and that's just, an inside work, or an inside joke at work, we'll call it. I just named it after someone. So then I battle the first couple trainers. As you see, Joey goes down obviously extremely easy. Mikey goes down too. Basically all the trainers on this route just goes down like they're nothing. Like I said, it's so long since I've played it. I talked to her and I was like, oh, you're not a trainer. Later on in this playthrough, I didn't battle like any trainers. I wanted to avoid most of them, but here, like I said, I battled the trainers on the first few routes, and then I battled all the trainers leading up to the gym leader, and I did that just because I wasn't really for sure how the gym leader would go. I didn't think Faulkner would be too hard, but I just wanted to make sure that I would be ready. Like I said, in other gyms I didn't really do that in, and actually there was some that was a struggle later, and I still didn't do that. I kind of just played with the moves until I won. Because Mew's so good, the stats wasn't the problem, it was just the moves I had was where the main challenges came in later. So yeah, all of his Pokemon goes down pretty easy. I don't even think I ended up in yellow health. Okay, so I forgot to mention this earlier, but this is obviously on an emulation. I do own the physical cartridge, but I don't have a way to record it on the actual system, and I don't have a way to randomize it on the actual system, so I did this. And I was speeding up the game on my computer as I played it through some of the longer fights, like walking through caves and stuff especially. So it messed up the audio file, so that's why I went in and re-recorded an audio file just for this. And it's not matching, but it works for now, and it's something I'm working on. It is my first time I'm doing a video like this, so we'll probably have it fixed by the next video. Give me a break here. So yeah, I did teach Lizard Swift actually, and that's because I almost ran out of PPs for other moves, and I'm like, well, I have Swift, I might as well teach it to him. I'm not gonna have him keep it though. So then I go to the second gym here. I did battle all the trainers here, and as you can see, I battled them on the way here, but after the third gym is when I stopped doing that. So I battled all the trainers, really easy. I wasn't sure how Scyther was going to go. And actually, the first time I battled Bugsy, I did die to Scyther. There's a couple times throughout this playthrough, by the way, where I will have a second Pokemon that's for HMs. That's coming up. And I did leave them in my party. But, the first one was Paris, for example, I got for cut later on. And I would use Stun Spore or something so that it wouldn't affect the battle. Because it was just going to die anyways. It was really low level. I was just nervous that Paris was actually going to kill something, and then I was like, oh no, now I'm going to have to restart the whole thing. Okay, so yeah, Bugsy I do end up taking down though. I do a second battle with Stella, and then this is where the first really big problem comes in. I have all normal moves, and I'm going against Ghastly. And I thought I would be able to take it down by transforming, but you have so low PPs of all your moves, and the only attacking move that Ghastly even has is Lick. But I was like, well, Ghost is super effective against Ghost, maybe I'll be able to take it down. But it just would never work. Ghastly would always use Spite, and it would take away all my PPs for Lick. And I was just always screwed. One time I did take down Ghastly, and I got to Zubat, barely took it down, and as you can see, I had 1 HP left, so I died to Bayleaf. So then I was like, okay, I don't really know how I feel about Fury Cutter, but it's the only non-normal move that I have right now that I can teach Lizard, that I have already on me. So we'll just teach it Fury Cutter, and it did amazing, actually. I actually kept Fury Cutter for a little bit in this game because of how much I liked it. So then I get to the 3rd gym. I don't think I actually battled any trainers on the way to here. Or if I did, it was only a couple. But all the trainers in this gym was extremely easy. After I did all the trainers, I did go back and heal once before I got to Whitney, I think. Just because I was like, oh, her Miltank with rollout is kind of deadly, and I want to make sure that I'm fully ready for that. Okay, so now we get to the crybaby herself. And we start out with Clefairy. Really easy. I end up trying to set up Fury Cutter on it, so that way it would be stronger by the time that I got to Miltank. It used Mimic, learned Fury Cutter, and at this point I'm like, oh no, it could take me out because Fury Cutter will be super effective against me since it's Bug type and I'm Psychic. So I was a little worried actually that Clefairy would take me out, but it didn't. That would have been really sad if Clefairy took out Mew, but you know, it wasn't like a Cubone or something. So anyways, I get hit by Rollout once, but it was no match. Fury Cutter had already gotten strong at that point, and Miltank went down. And of course, Whitney does her little crying thing and won't give me the badge, but she ends up giving it to me. I get to the next gym, and this is where the problem from the second rival fight exemplifies into a gym, and then I'm like, oh no. And Fury Cutter is barely able to take out the first trainer. By the time I get to the second trainer takes me out, and I cannot do it with Fury Cutter. I do this stupid thing where I have Rock Smash, so I teach it that, thinking Rock Smash is Rock type, because I feel like that would just make too much sense. But apparently Rock Smash is Fighting type. I've never used that move before, so I wasn't aware. And as you can see, I still wasn't aware here because I kept using it. And I was like, why isn't it hurting Honor? And then I realized, oh, this is Fighting type. Oh, Fighting type doesn't hurt Ghost. Okay. So I teach it the only move I have left because I replaced Fury Cutter already, so I can't even use that. So I teach it Rollout. Lizard, that is. Obviously. And it actually does pretty well. I get through the rest of the trainers with that, but it still is not enough by the time I get to the gym leader here. When I battle him, it's still a very tough battle, and when I can do most of it, by the time I get to Gengar, I've already missed some of the moves, and Rollout has to start over again, and it's no match for Gengar. I never was able to get it fully strong enough. So what I ended up doing, I was like, I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it, and I'm like, this is getting nowhere. So I did end up going to that town, or this house in this town, to learn Surf, which you'll see in a second here. Oh, I already did that. Okay. Yeah. So I learned Surf, and as I was watching this back, I'm like, I don't even remember using Surf in this battle. I feel like I got lucky and Rollout just built up enough that by the time it got to Gengar, it was so strong that it just took it out, which is kind of funny that I went out of the way to learn Surf, and then I don't even remember end up using it. Yeah, because Rollout took it out here, so I don't really know. It's just kind of funny. So immediately after I get this badge, I go through some routes nearby. I get to Olivine, and I do probably my least favorite part of the game. I don't know, maybe it's because this game doesn't have as many water parts and that's why it's so annoying, but I left the full footage of going through the lake here mostly. I even got bored watching it back, so I didn't leave all of it in, but there's so many encounters in the water here. I hate going between Olivine in this city over here that I forget the name of at the moment. But I just absolutely hate it, and you have to go to this one before you can go back to the other one. And something else I also did was I forgot to get strength while I was in Olivine, so I go over here to get the medicine for Jasmine, and while I'm over here I'm like, oh, I'll do the gym. No, I don't have strength, so I can't do the gym anyways. And so I have to go back to Olivine and then back later on. So I go back to Olivine, try to do Jasmine. It's just not possible. I try to fight her several times, and it just does not work. I even learned Shadow Ball, because I'm like, maybe that'll help. At some point, I just kind of give up after I learned Psychic, and I'm like, you know, we'll just take Psychic, we'll go over do the fighting gym, because that'll be a complete pushover. It was. And, so then I go back over, try Jasmine again after I do this, which this was a one try for the fighting gym, and then I go back over, and Jasmine's actually pretty easy now too, now that I have Psychic, which, I don't know, it's kind of weird that Psychic's the thing, but I guess it's Stab, so that probably helps. Steelix was obviously the biggest problem. Its Iron Tail really messed me up, and even when I did win, you can see that I was in yellow health. So then I go to the Rocket Hideout, and, you know, that's always fun / annoying. But it's pretty easy. I have to go back over to the Pokemon Center in that town a couple times and reheal because, you know, I can't do the whole thing without rehealing. And I would rather save up money so I have plenty of items for the Elite Four later. Plus, I already spent way too much money buying a whole bunch of Great Balls trying to catch a freaking Pidgey so I could learn Fly. Because that's what was annoying earlier, I didn't have Fly, and I couldn't catch anything in the area because everything was so high leveled, and I was way over leveled to get it down enough to catch it. So I had to go back to the beginning of the game and get a Pidgey at level 3. Anyways, so then we go try Price after we do the Rocket Hideout thing. Price is extremely easy. I'm sure there will be a Pokemon, if I do this game again and not a different one, that will be challenging eventually for Price, but with Mew, it was a complete pushover. It was not hard at all. So then I go and do the Dragon Trainer, and this gym actually really annoys me because it's never really challenging in the runs I've done recently, because I've done a couple, but I haven't, like, recorded them. So I didn't go all the way through on them, but I was, like, kind of, you know, seeing, you know, where things was. Anyways, it kind of annoys me that she won't give you the badge and you have to do a thing. Like, I feel like that's against the rules as a gym leader. But whatever, we go get the Dragon Fang, and we get the badge. Then we go and do, well, I guess it's kind of the last rival fight of the game. I'm going to consider it the last rival fight of the game. Of the Johto part anyways. And it is a one try. I don't have to, like, go back several times or anything. But I will say, even though there was only one challenging rival fight, which ironically was at the beginning, it still is, like, so much harder than Ruby and Sapphire. Those battles in that one was extremely easy. Okay, on to the Elite Four. First trainer, it's a complete pushover on all of the team. In fact, on this one, I don't think I even healed or anything between the two battles on this one. And also, if you couldn't tell too, you know, it would have been obviously way easier to have me learn Recover or Amnesia or something, but there wasn't really that many challenging parts of the game, so I didn't do that, even though Mew obviously could learn them. So get done with that battle, and then I go to the second one. I feel like Koga's not like hard at all either. Ariados was completely one hit with Psychic, it was down. Fortress, I got Surf on it, it went down after twice. It laid down spikes, and I'm like, you know, that's not really going to do anything. I'm not going to be changing out to other Pokemon, so you go ahead and lay down the spikes. Crobat comes out, excuse me. I do roll out twice. I'm like, okay, it'll build up enough that the last few Pokemon will be pretty easy then. And it was. Surprisingly, Muck didn't go down on one rollout though, even though it had built up. and I'm like, oh no, don't do that, because it went on the minimize thing, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna miss now. But took him down, then did Bruno. I mean, I have Psychic, so Bruno's already easy, but with Psychic under your belt, it's gonna be extremely easy. Onyx was the only one that like Psychic wouldn't have done, but I had Surf, so I'm like, okay, you know, you're covered too. So yeah, Onyx went down in one Surf, Hitmonchan went down in one Psychic, then we have Hitmonlee comes out and goes down in one Psychic, and I'm like, okay, Bruno is basically done at this point. Okay, so, and then we go to the next battle, which, this one I was actually really concerned about because, you know, there's going to be a lot of moves here that are super effective against me. That's why I was like really trying to debate my moves before all the Pokemon, because I'm like, okay, I really got to make sure that I like tackle down all these Pokemon as fast as possible. So on Umbreon I tried to set up rollout because I'm like, okay, that's gonna, you know, help. But then it set up confusion on me, and I'm like, okay, now I'm confused, I'm not gonna be able to do that. So I did Surf on the next few Pokemon, and it was actually one hit on them. But Gengar, I'm like, oh, I don't really know what to do. I did Surf, it went down in one Surf. Surprisingly, I didn't think it would. And Vileplume, I'm like, oh, you have less defense than special, so which I forgot, I don't know if the special defense is that good on Vileplume, but I did Strength because I'm like, okay, it's a physical attack. So, you know, Karen went down, and then I go to the last Elite Four member, and I wasn't as concerned about this as Karen. Karen was the one I was most concerned about in the Elite Four. This one, though, actually, I probably should have been more concerned than I was, because I didn't say it at the beginning, but this is the one battle that I did use an item in battle. It's the only one in the whole game that I did that with. I used, I think, a Hyper Potion, because as you can see, I'm almost dead right now. And I'm like, I don't want to battle the entire Elite Four again, because we already know Mew can do it. So, and I don't want to have to get up to that point again, which I could have saved it or something, but I didn't do that. So I just used a Hyper Potion, and, you know, I could have used Recover, so just pretend I used Recover or something, I don't know. So, used Psychic a couple times on Dragonite, and it probably would have taken me out, but it had to recharge, obviously, because it used Hyper Beam, so a Psychic took it out. And that was the battle. Game done. Mew won. You know, I could have done a Pokemon that was really challenging, but I think for me, it's fun to watch videos and to do them with Pokemon that's, like, interesting, or, like, that you don't use very often, or, like, just seeing how, like, I use a different Pokemon. As you can see, I had some HMs on my team still. But anyways, yeah, how I use different Pokemon. I want to do a Starmie run, I know, because Starmie's one of my favorite Pokemon, but I'm not sure what else I'm going to do. If you have a Pokemon that you want to see, let me know, and maybe I'll do it, maybe not, I don't know, let's see. And yeah, I'll go ahead and see you guys next time. Maybe a Pokemon challenge, maybe not, I don't know. But yeah, see you later.